Hi, my name is Bas, which is short for Sebastian. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I want to talk to you today about my dream plan to go on a multi-day cross-country adventure while showing you some beautiful aerial footage of a flight I made to the beach just the other day. Here you can see me taking off from a field close to where I live. I am a paramotor pilot with a few years of experience now, and I have this big dream plan for the spring of 2025 that I want to tell you about. This dream plan of mine is to go on a multi-day cross-country adventure with my paramotor, a journey in which I will be crossing country borders. I have been flying for about 2.5 years now, doing as many flights as possible. I've done about 50 to 60 or so flights, so it would be fair to say that I am slowly transitioning from a beginner pilot to an intermediate pilot. And being a somewhat slow learner when it comes to paramotoring, I have, after training, really learned a lot more about my launches and landings, especially in suboptimal conditions. And videoing yourself helps a lot, by the way, to get rid of those tiny little mistakes that you tend to make as a beginner pilot, especially your posture at launch and the exact timing of your flare at the landing. Ever since I started flying, I have occasionally been putting out videos on this YouTube channel about me and my buddy Roy doing flights in areas that we know well, and we very much enjoy doing that. Flying over the rural landscape, the beach, forests, rivers, and so on. As you may know, I live in the Netherlands, which is in the northwestern part of Europe. So my country is next to the United Kingdom in the west. Across the North Sea you have England and Scotland, Norway to the north, Denmark and Germany to the east, and Belgium and France to the south. The town where I live is about 30 kilometers or 20 miles north of Amsterdam. And I thought it would be a nice idea to fly from here all the way down to the south of France, which is about 1,200 kilometers or 750 miles. And you need to have a goal, a destination to fly to. So I want to take my flying to the next level, and having this dream of going on this long quest, if you will, to see if I can reach new destinations, and also to be, how do I say this, be away from it all for a while. My life has been quite turbulent lately. It's been crazy busy at work. I also have a busy family life, and I'm at an age where your parents start needing frequent help and attention, among other things. And there are very few moments where you can, well, just be alone for a while, if you know what I mean. I am basically an extrovert person, so I get energy from being around other people. I can fill up my agenda completely with dining out with friends or having luncheons and whatnot. And I enjoy sharing my life with other people and making videos. But some time ago, my personal coach advised me not to neglect my inner introvert. Nobody is 100% extrovert or introvert, and there is some truth in that. So that's why I love it so much up there. I'm all by myself. There's just me, myself, and I really love that. So I have been dreaming about going on a longer cross country for quite some time. The whole purpose of me learning how to fly a paramotor back in 2022 was to be able to go for those really long distances, to go fly to other countries even. I am not really interested in doing acrobatics in the air or other crazy stuff. I just really enjoy cruising and looking around, flying over beautiful places. Flying from here all the way to the south of France is of course quite a distance, and it means doing a lot of preparation. You don't want to just take off and see what happens. You must know what to expect and be very well prepared. And even then there will probably be things happening that you didn't think of beforehand. This video is about preparation. We'll talk about some important things you have to think of before going on an endeavor like this. About gear, stuff to bring, planning your route and choosing your fuel stops, places to eat and spend the night. And first off, and most importantly, what do you need to have and buy to actually be able to fly? For those of you that don't know, I will quickly explain what a paramotor is and what I chose to fly with. To go fly, you need a paramotor kit, which comprises of a paramotor frame with a seat, an engine behind me and a glider above me, next to all sorts of other little stuff that I will tell you about later. Now, about my kit, I chose a Parajet Maverick frame, which is one of the major brands out there. It's strong, comfortable, it's very well put together and thought through. My engine is an Atom 80, which is the lightest engine from the Italian manufacturer Fitorazzi. And my wing is a BGD Magic Motor beginner wing or glider, which they use a lot at flight schools. And it's actually one of the wings I learned to fly with. Now, something worth knowing is that everything you choose and buy to fly with has their pros and cons. For instance, my beginner wing is very stable and extremely collapse resistant, meaning it can recover by itself in unpleasant circumstances like rowdy air. And it's very forgiving if you make a mistake as a pilot. It basically dampens anything crazy, which for a semi-beginner or intermediate pilot like me is of course very reassuring. I put safety first because I want to stay alive. The downside of this wing, however, is that it is not very fast. Cruising speed is about 38 kilometers per hour or 24 miles per hour. And it doesn't really like sharp turns. It does turn, but slowly. It basically wants to go straight forward, and that's what it's designed for, being steady and not very quick, allowing you time to gradually do your launches and landings. I can, however, make some adjustments in the air, making it go a bit quicker, which I will show and explain in a later video. With a tailwind, I can of course go even faster, but with a headwind, I will travel even slower, meaning I have to be very realistic about the actual distance I can cover per day. My engine is very light, it's not very loud, it runs very smoothly, and it also uses little fuel, meaning I can cover long distances without having to refuel, especially with a bigger fuel tank mounted. I now have a 10-liter tank, but I plan on replacing it with a 17-liter tank. Downside of this engine, however, is that it has less power than bigger engines, resulting in a lower climb rate, going less steep up, which is not a big issue for me, but if I want to launch from a field with, for instance, high trees around it or power lines, then it can become more difficult because of the slower climb out rate. Now, because of this, I need a nice wide open field to launch from and land in, which limits my options. But for me, the fuel efficiency and the longer range is more important. Takeoffs and landings are difficult enough to do with packing so much weight. Therefore, I want to have as little fuel stops as possible, and preferably fly from airfield to airfield. But I may need to land and launch from tighter landing zones at petrol stations if I find myself running out of fuel, or if I have a motor out. We'll see how that goes. More engine power does not mean higher speed, by the way. The wing you fly offers you a certain speed. More power from your engine only offers you a steeper climb, which, like I said, can be useful in tighter areas. But if you want to fly faster, you need a faster wing, not a bigger engine. The luggage you take with you is always a trade-off between taking everything you need and weight limits. The rule is if you take it with you, you will have to launch, fly and land with it, obviously. And every kilogram counts, especially when there's no wind. Then you have to run very hard at the launch to make the wing carry you. And running with a lot of weight bouncing around is not easy. So for instance, if you wish to camp outside, like Colton Wenger often does, fantastic YouTuber by the way, you will need a tent, a mattress, a sleeping bag, pots and pans and so on. And if you choose to sleep in hotels, you of course don't need all that and you can travel lighter. But very few little airports have a hotel nearby, which then leaves you with a logistical challenge. At this moment I'm not entirely sure if I want to stay in hotels for the night or camp outside on the grass at airports. Both options have their pros and cons, and it of course depends on what time of year it is and what temperature. Now here you can see me land in the field after a nice flight to the beach. Now, in my next video I will show you how to plan a route using paper maps and apps, how I have planned to do my refueling, how you can fly in and out of airports, and what you need to know about radio communication. I will also talk some more about what things to pack on a long cross-country adventure. So I hope you will join me. See you next time. Beautiful.